Welcome to this explainer on Chapter 3. Today, we're embarking on a really fascinating journey into how we portray people. We're going to look closely at how we see, how we draw, and ultimately how we categorize the human experience all around us. It is incredibly easy to just take for granted the faces we see every single day, but when you actually stop to observe, there's this entire complex world of structure, history, and even bias hiding behind every single portrait. Here is our agenda for today. First, the art of observation. Second, history through artists' eyes. And finally, roles and stereotypes.
Section 1. The art of observation. Observing facial details.
Okay, I want to start off by asking you a really intriguing question straight from the text. Why do we all look totally different, even though our faces have the exact same parts? I mean, think about it. Every single one of us has eyes, eyebrows, a nose, a mouth, ears, and hair. Yet no two faces are identical. The secret actually lies in the subtle nuances. It's the unique spacing, the specific shapes, and the varying proportions of those exact same features.
When examining the structural breakdown of facial proportions, it brilliantly illustrates exactly what I mean. If you look at the specific shapes, notice the precise distance between the hairline and the eyebrows, or the exact length of the ears. Pay attention to the space right between the eyes. These tiny, literally millimeter-level differences in spatial arrangement, that's exactly what gives every single person their own distinct, perfectly recognizable look. To put all this into practice, the source material sets up a really fun virtual classroom activity that walks you through translating these real-life observations right onto a page. Step 1 is deciding the base shape of the face. Is it an oval, a circle, or maybe a rounded rectangle? Step 2 focuses on drawing those specific features we just talked about, carefully measuring those crucial distances. Step 3 asks you to bring the whole drawing to life by adding color. And then Step 4 is where it gets super interactive. You cut out your portrait to collaborate with your peers. So let's see how this builds into something much bigger. When students paste their cutout portraits together to create a collaborative class collage, something amazing happens. What I absolutely love about this final step is how it transforms what is basically a solitary exercise of individual observation into a diverse, unified group portrait. It visually celebrates everyone's totally unique physical traits on one shared canvas. It just proves that while we all have the same facial components, our diversity is what makes the complete picture so incredibly vibrant.
Section 2. History through artists' eyes. Buddha across time.
You see, portraits aren't just records of what people looked like. They're actual records of culture and time. Notice the rich diversity of artistic styles portraying the Buddha over the centuries. We've got the Kushan period's Gandhar style, which stretches from 100 BCE all the way to 400 CE, and their Mathura style from around 300 CE. Then we see the Gupta period represented in both the Ajanta and Sarnath styles right around 500 CE, sitting alongside the Tanka style. It's absolutely fascinating to note how a single historic subject gets completely reinterpreted. The facial features and characteristics totally shift across different eras and geographical regions.
Now, what's really interesting is comparing a finished piece to its blueprint. On one hand, you have a smooth, masterful, totally finished sculpture of the Buddha from the Gupta period Sarnath style. But then, if we strip away the stone to reveal a geometric, proportional grid of the Buddha's face, we see something amazing. This grid shows us the underlying architecture. It reveals exactly how ancient artists structured these iconic facial features, heavily relying on sacred geometry and distinct mathematical proportions to achieve that perfectly serene expression.
Section 3, Roles and Stereotypes, Examining Our Biases. Okay, I want you to try a really quick mental exercise with me. Close your eyes for just a second and draw a picture of a farmer in your mind. Do you have it? Okay. Now, I challenge you to critically consider what you instinctively just visualized. Ask yourself, what is the gender of the farmer you pictured? How tall or short are they? What exact clothing are they wearing? Most of us default to a very specific, pre-programmed image without even realizing it. So the crucial point here is that we really must examine our implicit biases. Do we all imagine roles like farmers or painters in the exact same way? As the text points out, our natural environment and the media we constantly consume heavily shape our visual expectations. They build our assumptions about certain roles. So the author urges us to start observing people a lot more closely in our daily lives, to actively break out of these typical, really limiting visual molds. The text provides a fantastic method for doing this. It contrasts predictable drawings of societal roles with a really cool stereotype-breaking exercise. It asks you to observe someone in your family or neighborhood, note what they're wearing, and just draw them in their usual role. Then it challenges you to draw another picture of them in those exact same clothes, but this time acting out a very different, uncommon, and inspiring role. It's a super powerful way to visually disconnect a person's core identity from the uniform society just expects them to wear.
I want to wrap up this explainer by leaving you with this incredibly poignant, provocative thought directly from our source material. If they changed their clothes, would they stop being a farmer? It's a brilliant question that cuts right to the absolute core of identity and perception. What truly defines the people we see around us? Is it their facial proportions, their historical context, the clothes on their back, or something so much deeper? Keep that question in the back of your mind the next time you draw, or honestly, even just look at another person. Thanks so much for diving into this with me, and keep exploring.